on map selection here very well may have a small advantage, so we'll see exactly how that unfolds. Again, this was a tight map, as you had mentioned. Smoke out, dashing on in, clears already through, looking for more of that same pistol success that they found versus TSM in week 5, but TSM giving a little bit of space here, a little bit of chip damage also secured, but the spike will make its way on. TSM going to be held at bay by Steel, who tries to give it a go, but the pop flash doesn't quite work out, and TSM get first blood.
He certainly got a lot of players blinded there, but just not able to take the opportunity. So it is going to give TSM the one-man edge on this retake. We're going to have a very important interaction taking place towards the catwalk right now, and Riku's coming out on top of it, and that's really helping Disguise, and XXiF also pops through.
Kanpeki now, last one left for the 1v2, gets the reload off. Sees the sentry turret down, but it's clear who holds him inside of trees. So Disguised continue to look really solid in the pistol. And that wasn't necessarily by fault of TSM. That was just great collection once again. Riku getting 2 kills in the process of the actual hold itself.
Yeah, indeed. And here's the thing, like, we've been talking about this throughout the split and really throughout this midseason face-offs between us and between the desk, is that Disguise passes the eye test in a lot of ways. Like, we know that Steel's a very good veteran in-game leader. We know that this team is capable of being very strategically sound. We know what kind of skill ceiling Clear has, but he just hasn't lived up to the same performances that some of our other newer duelists are, like Pony and Sim and Oxy, obviously, on G2. Those guys have been blowing up. It's now time to see if, you know, Clear can start turning the corner, I think, in this series.
Interesting little engagement here just outside of B main. It's a dark cover that actually gets the defense in for TSM to go 1 for 1. It was a Guardian that ended up finding the kill, but Steel drops, and now one of your main pieces of initiation are off the table as Disguise are looking to maybe wrap and rotate to A.
Certainly going to be the case here. Smoke is going to come out on main, though, from Guimon to try to slow this A progression down. But this might even just be a little bit of a feint being thrown. We can see the Owl Drone being used in B. It's going to detect nothing. Get some good information on all the close corners to start giving them some space. And meanwhile, the defense is just kind of packed up together on Catwalk, which is great because it allows them to bounce either direction very quickly and be very responsive. So this is the kind of gamble that you have to do on a save round like this. As Riku keeps their attention, but that spike is certainly going to find an empty B side here soon.
Yeah, and those couple of shots right there from Riku actually does force TSM off of the retreat from mid to lean at this A defense. So, like you mentioned, vacant site, easy plant. Riku may have saw shoulder right there, but is continuing just to step away. The trails are allowing the chase to continue to happen, but the kills clean with the Bulldog. 3 kills now for Riku in the round, 5 total, 1 off of getting a very early Cosmic Divide, as Gomon will just be left to his own devices here at mid.
Yeah, and I know that this is just an anti-eco, and so like you have to take things with a bit of a grain of salt, but that was actually really impressive decision-making from Riku throughout that entire sequence. Like, just getting the read, falling back, using really good maneuvers just to stay out of trouble, because he easily could have gotten overwhelmed, swarmed, taken out, lost his rifle. You know, then that starts taking away some of the economy of Disguise. Maybe it gives TSM a free weapon. Like, there could have been some things that went wrong there, but he was able to just keep backing off towards spawn slowly but surely, gets all the frags, and turns this round into an easy conversion for his squad, as that will put Disguised up 2-0. So, again, we talked about pistol rounds on the desk, how successful Disguised were in getting all of them. They're doing it again here.
Sure are. Now you got 3 Bulldogs, a Guardian, and a Ghost, which is formidable in nature, considering that there are 4 light armors being purchased here for TSM. It's really all they can afford. So you've got rifles and an Odin. But Clear is looking to get aggressive up towards mid. Corey on the other side, kind of waiting for maybe the knife and the recon dart to expire. And then he takes his peek, and wow, that's a beautiful first blood. Clear will drop, and a 5v4 now ensues for TSM.
And I mean, hey, that's what Corey does best, right? Corey within the top 10 for first kills per round from the first split. And so you know that that battle between him and Clear is going to be a constant one to keep an eye on as the Cosmic Divide is down. We're still trying to see DSG use his mid control to split open B. They do have XXiF coming in through main. The rest now pressuring market. They're also keeping their options open on Catwalk with this drone coming in, but Kanpeki will shut it down, not allowing it to get too much information.
Wow. A lot of utility spent there from Kanpeki, feeling the threat, that Cosmic Divide, maybe not allowing for an execute, but it does force the defense to pull back towards their spawn pretty heavily. So you've got 7 locked inside of the B site with Nature, who has an Odin. Could be deadly, but it also is going to be pretty implaceable Oh, and that little reveal is going to stop DSG a little bit further. Now TSM's defense on the way. Here comes the hit, though. Nature, first blood. That's the spike carrier down. DSG now stepping over towards the sidewalk. Seven's there to watch it. Well done by TSM to completely contain the play. And now Riku is left by himself 1v4.
Yeah, not too much he can do here. He's going to get detected by that as well, so they know that he's in main, so no element of surprise, and the clock is ticking, of course. Corey will dot the I's and cross the T's of that round, so converting on the Disguise bonus with their full buy, but now Disguise will be back to full economy coming into this next one. No real alts in play for this next round, so it'll all come down to basic gunplay and utility. Just a nice firm hold here from TSM on the site. Also worth noting, while Disguise has made some role changes coming into Ascent, TSM keeps the same comp that they were on when they lost Disguise in their previous meeting. So still having confidence in this. And again, it was a tight game, so that does make a lot of sense. And again, both these teams have had a lot of success on this map outside of their matchup against each other. Again, M80 and the Guard are the only two teams that these squads have lost to on this map, which are basically the two top teams and challengers.
That's a very good point. It's also interesting, I think, while we're in these full buy rounds, these are the rounds where we're really needing to evaluate this role swap between Riku, Steel, and XXiF. See how exactly the team wants to kind of utilize these swaps. Because I think in some regard, you may look at Riku saying, if he's locking things down as a Sentinel, and we put him on a controller, maybe he can be more active with these hits rather than just kind of watching flanks. And maybe there's a little bit of extra trust here towards his gun skill coming into play for this offense. Yeah, and again, this is only his 4th game, as far as officials go, playing this agent in Astra. I know he's played some games on Omen, but Astra's a very different controller than Omen, mechanically speaking, as well as just kind of the role it plays throughout the course of the round. As we are going to see some aggression here from Kanpeki onto Catwalk. He's got Nature for support, as well as his other teammates coming into play. I mean, look at this kill feed. It's just lighting up, like, very rapidly out in the middle. That Haunt got so much value in TSM. We're very quick to follow up on it, although XXiF wants to make things interesting by trying to get a little proactive through the sentry turret. Not going to work out too much, and yeah, the Haunt kind of wins the round there for TSM, who are quick on the rotate, and maybe some of that was also determined by the fact that Shock Dart not just neutralized a nano, but it also missed an alarm bot, so the defense was quick to try to utilize that if it did get triggered.
Yep, so we are 2 apiece, and the economy of Disguised is in the bin. Just coming out with a couple of shares into this one. They are 1 away from a lockdown onto XXiF, so that could maybe come into play if they get a couple of entry frags and feeling frisky. As it looks like they are certainly loading up to try to grab that orb at A. All of their forces are here.
Yeah. Corey's a little bit isolated. DSG, of course, just on pistols. Would be hard-pressed, you would think, to do too much from this position. Nice combination with the flash from Kanpeki over the top 4 players will fall. XXiF does get 2, though. And Guamon is at low HP. Maybe an opportunity. Tries with a little jump tail. Not fully going to work out, but a little bit of space has been earned here. And now, all of a sudden, XXiF may have a chance to cross behind the sentry turret, get himself a rifle, and this is still a doable 1v3.
It is, just considering the fact he got a rifle and he's got a lot of time. And if he is able to kind of create some doubt, he might even be able to rotate the spike all the way back around to the B side of the map. As basically TSM, smartly, are just going to play together as 3. And if they're forced to play a retake, fair enough. They just want to make sure they secure the round. And that's very good discipline being shown on their part. But XXiF, again, trying to throw that doubt out there, trying to just kill the silence. And we'll have to wait and see. But it seems like he wants to commit A, and TSM are really hedging their bets on it.
Yeah. The longer this goes, maybe the more this defense starts to waver, but there's the shoulder peek. Nature will confirm that XXiF still is playing through main. Guamon down low. Or cover out. XXiF will try to come through this. Odin spam is denying him entry. He's also got 7 onto his left. Impressive shot, but Nature was still watching it. So the crossfire works out and TSM take the round, but it was punishing from DSG.
And that was a sick shot from XXiF, dude. Like, you have to applaud the individual highlight there. But what I also want to highlight is TSM's little set piece on A right there. Having Corey tucked into line, Kanpeki flashes, Guamon paranoias through the corner, and it completely shuts down Disguise's hopes of grabbing the orb, getting the lockdown, and just trying to go for an A execute right off the rip. So TSM just kind of managing that anti-eco really well. Now take the lead for the first time here with the last 3 in a row going their way. Now both teams have the lockdown as we come into another full buy round.
Dueling Odin's also the mixed Nature taking just a little bit of chip damage. Genghsta received just about a shot in return as well. But like you mentioned, back to full buys, and you wonder what this lockdown will do on either side. Corey able to snap on for the first, and that's something that's a little different than last time. If I'm not mistaken, we only saw clear sniping on this ascent map last time these two teams played.
Yeah, definitely just trying to change things up, give them a different look. That's a very big early disturbance TSM has created that the Skies now have to react to. Lockdown is going to force the defense off of the site, so the Skies will get in here, but they're going to pay it with their lives.
Yeah, and the Nightfall, that helps Corey get a little bit further forward for free, and wow. Okay, this has been a very different story. So again, just going back to what we were talking about in week 5, TSM great in the openings, poor at finishing off rounds. So far, they have been tested on a lot of these re-executes, and they have done really well, not just securing first blood, but also trying to contain these full-buy DSG hits.
Yeah, they're an interesting team because TSM often has had to start on attack when they have played this map because it's usually a pick of theirs. The one time that they did start on the defense was actually in their loss against the Scotch, where they only got 6 rounds defensively throughout the course of the half. They're already almost there, and we're already 6 rounds in. So, good signs from TSM early here after losing Pistol to really get the streak going. The Skies need to figure something out here. Close to a full buy, a couple of Bulldogs.
And I think the reason why here is because you've got the Hunter's Fury that is earned. Steel is also 1 kill away from a null command. Clear if he gets a couple would have knives. This is still a lot of potency as far as utility for Disguise in this round.
And Disguise are kind of playing true to their nature, you know, playing that more methodical default opening, trying to grab a little bit of map control, leave their options open, create presence all across the map to keep the defense guessing. They're trying to pave a little bit of a way forward here with this Hunter's Fury. It's not going to land the mark. Kanpeki able to stay up close.
Wow.
And he absolutely blasts clear out of the air.
Man, that is unbelievable. The recon bolt being denied was so key because Genghsta was trying to follow up off of that immediately, though Disguised fighting back, and Corey is actually stuck in a pretty tricky spot. The null command gets earned, Steel pops out immediately, so now what looked to be a really solid start for TSM has gone completely awry. 7 changing the tides once again, though, for a 2v2. And still has the lockdown, just has to wait for the null command to fade away.
Exactly. Gonna make this retake very hard for DSG to hold off with this lockdown now being in play. Steel trying to hold on as long as he can inside the slide to try to shut them down before they come in, but now he is forced away.
Yep. He used his fragment a little too early there. I think he tried to send it over to the top towards tree. So now it's just down to XXiF trying to lock things up. Nanostorm trying to push him off. 7 on for the defuse. Halfway. Already ticked away. And it's just spam on the corner. 7's going to hold it and just no angle whatsoever. TSM get the retake, even though Disguised held some pretty solid numbers for the plant.
And that's just tough because the way that that was planted was one of the worst case scenarios for being forced to play a lobby in a post-plant position. And with that lockdown being a card that could be played, I mean, that's always something you have to consider when you're trying to put that plant down on the site. And it basically left XXiF no chance in this clutch situation.
Yeah.
A tough one here for DSG to start. I think a couple of positives. XXiF doing well back on the Killjoy, and Riku seems to be taking to this controller role pretty well. So, I mean, those are some good signs. But again, like, Clear has just not lived up to the billing, in my opinion, when in comparison to some of the other young upcoming duelists in this league. You know, you think of Sim, you think of Oxy, you think of Pony on Oxygen. Like, these guys have really stepped up as that new class of duelist in the region, and Clear has struggled to get off the starting blocks in many of the games that this team has played. And it's not just him, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Again, they've had to deal with the roster change. Now they're dealing with role swaps. They've been through a lot. It's been trying. And they had a tough schedule, right? Having to play M80 twice. There's no doubt about that. But
for sure.
At the end of the day, you do have to beat someone in front of you to keep it going. And it's a little bit of a cold start. We have seen some good early round thoughts from them as far as how they're taking map control. It's just about finalizing a round.
Sure.
But of course, this one's going to be tough when you're taking a save.
And there's like a handful of exchanges that we've seen that just, you know, TSM have done such a great job of containing and then overwhelming the setup from DSG. And maybe some of that is on the fact that you've got Steel and, you know, maybe not fully familiar with how Clear wants to enter, because we've seen Clear try to be as aggressive, if not more aggressive than Corey at times.
He's got the mechanics. I mean, the eye test passes for me. It's just it hasn't come together for like a big performance yet. But certainly, I think a lot of it comes down more to decision-making versus his actual aim or mechanics. I think he's got that in spades. But again, this is a tough round with just the classics.
And the knives are out for Clear. Hopefully we can drop this overlay so we can see the gameplay just a touch better. Operator is out for Corey. And he's in a pretty good spot, possibly to shut down any of them for disguise if they decide they want to cross back over in one direction or the other. Nice foul drone. Going to be used on both sides. The Aldrone not able to get really much of anything at all right there. Kanpeki kind of shutting down the information play, but he himself is also pushed back, and Disguise still taking their time on this approach.
Big
Nice
pick
shot
there from Corey out in the middle onto ZXiF. The rest of the Disguise trying to make their way up the catwalk, but we're seeing some very good counter utility here from TSM to not really give them good firm control of this area. Haunt coming out now as well from Nature. So again, they're just getting, you know, bullied around here at Tree.
Yeah.
But that's a great timing from Riku.
Yeah. Now on the way in, clear with knives. Oh, he just completely whips Gaman, who took no damage, and now all of a sudden, the defensive omen starts to get activated, killing off time, but Steel able to get the trade. Enough time for the plant to still come through. 2v2 situation. And Clear has found himself a rifle. Steel holding onto a frenzy right around the corner. And in that corner, he gets completely red and obliterated by Corey. Last one up is Clear, and well, 7 will put him down, no worries. And that will be the retake again for TSM, but hey, Disguise are still making these budget rounds really costly.
Oh, absolutely. Again, they're doing a pretty good job maneuvering around the map on the attacking side and kind of throwing some feints and getting some map control and, you know, creating opportunities. It's just about closing those opportunities is, you know, what we have to kind of keep an eye on, which just hasn't really happened yet since TSM's gotten their economy in order.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that was a save round, so we kind of just call that one a wash, but they did have chances here, right? I mean, Clear had Bladestorm in sight, had a chance to take them on down more quickly to kind of have a bigger health pool for the clutch situation, but just ate too much damage and kind of relied on Steel to kind of finish the job, and it just left them no real outs to finish that round off. But to be fair, the fact they got that close at all is really impressive considering the utility they were working with there.
But now we have to have the hard conversation with 4 rounds to play. What did Disguise talk about in that last timeout? Because we need to see it come to fruition here. And how about this? TSM are doing something very different. 3-man stack, not just in towards A-Long, but through it. And you have nobody watching this flank. XXiF is a part of the play into B main. The spike is down. So this is very dangerous all of a sudden. If you're Disguised, you could be under threat of getting contained once again, and Kanpeki will secure first blood and also alert that the flank is in play here, Disguised.
I like the reaction, though, at least from Disguise. Like, they're quickly taking deeper mid control in response to being flanked from A. So this is a really good reactive play. Steel even going to start looking to poke and prod at Tree because you know they had to commit a lot of resources to get that flank off. So now it's just about taking the space that's left over. And so Disguise is doing a pretty good job about kind of posting up on a couple different angles and giving themselves some options here. They still have presence over in B main. They're now starting to take up Tree with Clear and company. Dashing his way in. The thing is, if TSM can just hold A main like this and continue this flank, they can buy time for those rotations.
Yes, absolutely.
But XXiF could cut them off. That's the other problem.
It is very much so a game of chess right now between these two.
30 seconds left.
Genghsta trying to re-wrap back over towards market, and this is just to create some more noise and maybe a listen saying, hey, defense, look at us, we're going B, when that's not the case at all. But has TSM been fooled? Still with 2 members on that deep flank. XXiF has to find one on the cross, and it's a huge pickup, taking down Kanpeki. Corey has to kind of be very avidly cautious of how he takes this angle versus XXiF, and well, XXiF will give away the elimination for free. Did not expect Corey to be there. So now we're to the post plant 2v4. Clear in towards front glass. He gets read by the Prowler, has to back in towards Tree. His compadre of Steel's playing inside the site as Corey continues to clear small angle by small angle. And the longer they don't see him, the more you would have to think that he's going to be down towards hell, but the prediction's not there. Steel's able to get 1. Time is still ticking. Now it's just down to Clear. 1v3 situation, and Guamond will take out the last 2 Disguised members to get to 7.
Yeah, now they have already beaten the defensive half that they had last time around against Disguised. Again, they went 6-6 in that first half. Now they're up 7-2 this time around, having lost that match 10-13 during split 1. So if you're a TSM fan, you're happy about this improvement on the defensive side. If you're a Disguised fan, you're starting to get a little bit worried they're getting contained a little bit too much. Again, there's been so many instances throughout this half where Disguised have put themselves in good positions, even a man down. Like that round, I was actually really loving how they were, you know, keeping presence at B, you know, with XXiF, while also still, you know, getting up Tree, getting up in behind A site and getting spiked down. It's just that they haven't been able to complete a round.
Yeah. Valid point. So still on for the full buy are Disguised. Corey still sniping is over towards B this side, and it's really just Seven who's defending A. Dano will be triggered as the Cloud bursts through. No command is going to be in. Aldrin also trying to scout things out as Disguise will move forward. Steel taking some chip damage just to make sure they can confirm some space, which they do get. Recon Bolt just to affirm that the spike could get planted, and now it's on to TSM. What do you use to retake this?
Yeah, no ult on the board, so it's just going to come down to pure play. Cosmic Divide goes down from Disguise to kind of cut off door position, as well as the A flank to a degree. TSM looking to come together through Catwalk, and that's where they're going to have to try to get through this Cosmic Divide as Corey plays from up top with the operator.
Yeah, TSM were very worried about that long lurk from XXiF in the round previous. Cosmic Divide about to fade. TSM now on their way in. Dash charge, Paranoia also charged up. Clear, down low, shuts down Corey immediately. Kanpeki for the trade. 4v3 situation, just go back and forth in the kill feed. But Genghsta in the corner can only go 1-for-1. Is this enough though? Because Disguise have the benefit of the time. Seven trying to hit it, but no. The star is there for the ability to suck him off for the defuse. That will lead to a round for Disguise where only XXiF will survive to tell the tale.
Yeah, really well done there by Disguise. Just really nice set piece on A. That's, again, what, you know, Steel-led teams are really well known for, is their timing and how they use their utility and being able to change the pace from a slower default to just a set piece. TSM elects to play more of a retake setup on A and just were not able to get it done. Disguise always kind of just one step ahead throughout each and every sequence that round. And they kind of get a desperately needed round, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
if they lose that, they let TSM start building up just too big of a half. So this gives them that opportunity to maybe get it back to a 7-5 and keep things close. As once again, they're looking for some heavy A lobby presence early here, maybe for Orb. Kanpeki contends it for a bit, but then has to back off.
And there is a chance here for Genghsta to get that Hunter's Fury, yeah, so you kind of go ultimate for ultimate here down the stretch if you're Disguised, only having the Cosmic Divide last round. Obviously, you've earned up that Hunter's Fury. You're close to things like Blade Storm and another lockdown before this half finishes. So you've got the tools to make this happen. Just comes down to the execution of it. And you can see Disguised are changing the tempo pretty considerably.
Yeah. Corey, though, holds his forward position on B lobby, has a chance, depending on who peeks first and what angle they take, to maybe just get an opening pick and back off. Definitely a lot of forces for Disguise being gathered in this very area. The turret is there, stopping Corey's angle a bit, but he still steps out for the frag onto XXiF, and there is no ability to punish. He's able to dash out of there. Disguise now trying to follow up with the Owl drone and just personnel to try to really pressure this site, but the defense can now just back up and just maintain their advantage.
And Clear really can't dash in. I mean, he's at 1 HP. He was part of a collat and almost that came through. Hunter's Fury does connect onto Corey, doesn't finally flush him out towards backside arches, though. And the offense is making their way on. And honestly, for TSM, defensively speaking, they really only have these two defenders inside archway right now, but is that going to be enough? Shock darts in, just pushing around these defenders as much as possible, and Clear finally gets in, takes care of Corey. Seven, the last one left. Clear gets another at low HP, and then the flank from Riku. Oh, the timing is exquisite. Last player left is Gamond, and there will be a plant for his ability to consider a 1v4.
What a round from Disguise. Again, we've seen the building blocks of a round like this many times this half, where they've gotten the early space, they do some big things to get control of a site, get a spike down. It's just about, you know, those finer details at the end to actually close the round that have sometimes gone awry. This time, Clear gets both the frags he needs on the site, and Riku just has a brilliantly timed flank through middle. And so those finer details have finally been realized, and Disguise have now won a couple of rounds in a row, and now all of a sudden this map's back up for contest. It's no longer a one-sided affair. Now we got ourselves a tight half, and if Disguise can close out with the fifth, I mean, you give them, you like their odds on pistols apparently, just based on what we've been seeing throughout the split, what we've been seeing out this head-to-head matchup. So they're right back in this thing all of a sudden.
That's a huge round from Clear, because he was literally pixels away from being collided off that opening snipe by Corey.
True.
So the fact that he gets 2 kills at 8 HP is unbelievable.
Yeah. Also crazy considering, because this guy's only got 1 hit out of the 3 on the Hunter's Fury in the back of B side.
Yeah, for real.
And so that made you a little bit concerned that they hadn't done really enough damage to like get a good chance at a good trading sequence, but Clear just, again, shows us that fine aim and gets it done.
Well, both Jets are going to have 9s for this round. The status of other ultimates would be depending on things like orbs and kills. And you can see the orb being collected by XXiF will put him one away from an offensive lockdown. Disguise looking to possibly even hit this a little bit quicker. Fragments out as the mid door is still open. And yeah, they're just going to walk right through. The Nanostorm's never really even fully triggered because
they got destroyed by shot darts, I believe. So really well done by DSG to use their utility to create a way forward onto this B site. But they're not fully committing. They've left XXiF behind, but they're actually backing off towards middle, and XXiF is just holding a very precarious position on sidewalk.
Wow, this could get absolutely deadly. TSM looking for the cross, they find it, but XXiF lurking. How about it? XXiF gets two, and he still has Kanpeki stuck on the staircase. Now the spike will rotate back, but Kanpeki catches him completely unawares, and now Disguise had to make a decision. They were halfway committed to going back to B, but instead they're gonna pull the trigger on the initial play, which is this long wrap over to A where Knives and Corey are waiting for them. Kanpeki would also have a null command. Recon Bolt does not see Corey. So now Kanpeki up the top through glass. He gets one, which honestly is not bad considering the circumstances. So now Corey knows there's one behind him. But does he know that there are two stacked up towards heaven with 15 seconds to play? Just down to what happens with the Knives. Dash charge. First one's out. Knife brutally missing, and it's a shorty kill for Genghsta to finish the half. What in the world was that?
Corey is going to be kicking himself for that one. You feel like you got to at least get the frag on the Sova and put yourself in the 1v1 with, you know, the clock being kind of your ally for the rest of it, but comes up short. Genghsta makes him pay for it, and Disguised come up huge at the end of the half to pull this thing back into range, winning 3 in a row, I believe, to close it.
Yeah, 3 in a row. You're right.
Again, throughout the half, they were showing us some good feints and fakes and map control. They just weren't closing, but now they do in a big way to put this really back into contest.
Man.
That was a big play from XXiF, too. Got to highlight that.
Absolutely.
Just getting those kills on B site was so huge to even give his team a chance.
And the thing about it, too, just to kind of re-hit it one more time here as we jump into the pistol, this is on players that are not in their normal roles that we saw. So that little bit of trust already established as TSM will start this pistol much better than every other pistol we've seen from them. First 2 kills are in, but they are rotating right on over to aforementioned XXiF, and his setup could allow him a chance to contest this.
Yeah, this is their best case scenario to try to get back into this round, is this setup that XXiF has on A site. He has done a little bit of chip damage here on a couple of players, but he's still going to get swarmed from so many angles at once. Not much he could really do. It looks like TSM are going to go ahead and put this one to rest here. Kanpeki with the quad kill.
Wow.
Again, he has been the X factor since he has been added to this TSM squad. Number 3 in KD, top 10 ACS, ADR, and kills per round. So he has been a star for this team in this role.
Just to name a few.
Yeah, just to name a few. I mean, he really has been the catalyst for TSM turning their season around. That and Gamon getting back on controllers and actually taking on the IGL role on kind of short notice and doing pretty well with it, all things considered.
Okay, so a rare pistol win for TSM. Can they follow up? Lots of rifles purchased. Guardian, 2 Bulldogs, and a Vandal alongside a Spectre. Other side of things, mostly classics. We do have 1 Sheriff for clear, just in case. He has been hot with it in the past. And then a Shorty for Riku.
Shadows traveling.
Now we're seeing an attempt to maybe take some deeper mid control here for TSM with that smoke nature kind of leading the way. Steel, though, set up for the pop flash, and clear is kind of there to be kind of the trigger for that, kind of keeping an angle on it from the stairwell. So they definitely have a good setup to contain any type of market presence here.
Yeah. And this whole setup is actually really solid for Disguise towards B, generally speaking, because that Shorty of Riku's already forward in B main. So it's just trusting that the sentry turret is enough. And oh, here we go. Pistol shows. Clear able to find 1. There's the pop flash, followed up by the fragment. Second flash in. Steel just barely misses the timing to catch more of Kanpeki, but TSM now have to rotate. And actually, 7 tapping through middle will take down 2 crossers outside of market. And that now puts all the attention over towards XXiF, who has all of TSM to try to deal with. But getting out of the site was a pretty key one. Shock darts in actually could find some chunk damage. And yeah, Disguise are still putting out some damage here, considering they've lost the site.
Oh, XXiF trying to jump in there and catch a timing, but Gamon was wise to it, found it. Genghsta grabs one, McCory is quick to retaliate, and back and forth we go. But TSM flexing that firepower advantage, able to eventually get the job done. But again, Disguise had a good idea there with that little bait and switch set up on market with Steel and Clear. almost created a big enough disturbance to maybe steal that round away, but TSM roll up the punches, get over to A. Again, flex the superior firepower, eventually pull out in front. Obviously, 7 must be given a lot of credit for this play out in the middle. That's kind of what helped them recover from the damage they took at middle. And there you go. Big round here.
Yes, this is a big one. Mostly due to the fact that TSM has to repurchase into what is essentially even economy with DSG.
Yep.
So TSM now going to run right through Catwalk, Prowler leading the way, and defensively, DSG just have to try to hold from inside of the site here. There's no exit, and how about the first kill from Riku? Zone Nebula, keeping him safe from essentially line of sight through Archway, but TSM still get on, and they still find the kills. Clear still trying to contest, though. Will actually take us to a 3v3 very early on, as Kanpeki will have enough vacancy to plant.
Can't say I'm surprised by this pace from TSM. Certainly known as one of the more aggressive teams in Challengers. They're looking to just brute force their way through this round. They've gotten into a post-plant 3 versus 3. Turret will spot Clear crossing heaven. I like this proactives from TSM over at Tree, by the way. Press it together as 2 so they don't get bottlenecked in the site.
Oh, but Clear, oh, he has an angle, but doesn't quite connect with the shots. Genghsta down low.
Enemy remaining.
Odin will be good for the first, and now Crossfire setup. XXiF trying to get as much damage done as possible towards this player in heaven. Oh, the Nanostorm is so well placed by 7. Right at his feet as he was landing, and TSM take a key 3rd round and a half and go up 10-5.
That was beautiful, quick decision making from 7 there. Getting that Nano Swarm out, basically winning the round off of that. It was just TSM playing that fast-paced play style, just looking to swarm and trade, looking for fights wherever they could find them, and they were able to win the bulk of them here on the take. Finish out with 2 players surviving. They forced DSG onto a save, and DSG is basically going to only get 1 more full buy unless they're able to start stringing some rounds together before TSM walk away with this map in a much more one-sided fashion than the previous meeting, where it was disguised the victors.
For real. Okay, so you go into this round with full share of purchase. I hate to ever say that you need to win a Thrifty, but Disguised has been so close to pulling together Thrifties. So maybe this is the one that finally cracks the shell. And how about it? The Paranoia play does not keep Guamon safe. Riku gets first blood. That's already a rifle collected. And now DSG can set up a more traditional defense. Although they may actually catch Corey here as well if he's not careful. But Riku will be the one caught off guard. TSM's trying to force their way in towards Boat. The defense is here trying to contest this, but just not quite able to land the shots. Nature takes down 2, and TSM will get the site.
Indeed they will, and now 7 holds the close angle onto Market. XXiF can only check one side, chooses the wrong one. Can't fault them for it, but it certainly rewards 7. As it's just now Steel, gonna get boxed in by Corey. And that's gonna do it. 4 players survive for TSM, so a well-handled anti-eco. Again, though, I do want to point out, Riku has been popping off, man.
Agreed,
16
dude.
frags on a roll swap. This guy was a Knights Academy player, and then before that, he was on Basculus, just playing like really small weekly tournaments, never really being involved in VCT or anything like that. And he's come in, you know, as the team sub with the departure of Exalt, who was their best performer prior. And I mean, he has hit the ground running on this team. Like,
Yeah.
I think if anything, this guy's had to be happy with what Riku's been able to accomplish individually.
On 2 roles that he does very little playtime on. I think
Exactly.
that's the most impressive part. Definitely
He was
a
a
bright
Jet
future.
Sova main, if I remember correctly.
Steel in a little bit of trouble here. Can't quite get away. The fragment would have been the end of his demise if the gunfire wasn't. So TSM get first blood. Alarm bot will reveal. Clear, have to have at least 1 here. He loses his dash and has to back off the angle just a touch further.
Dude, TSM just keeping up the tempo. But again, it's not done in some sort of reckless way. It's very utility driven. Very good spacing amongst their players. They're always set to trade. There's never really on an island. And so, you know, it kind of just goes to show that it is possible to play a organized, fast-paced style. It's not all just about individual making plays. TSM do hold up for a bit here. Now the Prowler will lead them towards Market.
Nice shot.
But Clear hits a great shot on the Corey as Riku presses.
Riku, I was going to say that. I love the proactivity of this, but gets a 1v1 isolated versus Guamon and can't quite capitalize. So now it's a free site for TSM.
30
Plant should
seconds
surely
left.
come quickly. And you look over to the defense, sure, Clear has knives, so his ability to get in may be a little bit more successful than just with the operator, but the problems here is you kind of have to wait for Genghsta to get his utility online. He hasn't sent anything out this round yet.
Clear trying to just jump up and get something, but not gonna happen. Meanwhile, Genghsta, I don't even know what that was, but it's gonna hurt DSG. That's for sure with that wall bang, as now Clear tries to come over the top with these daggers.
Nice.
Finds one down low, the other gets blipped.
Oh, it's a beautiful collection. XXiF follows up, and yeah, that was the key. Genghsta getting there. He had full utility. Owl Drone, Shock Darts, Recon Bolts, Odin Spire, and now he's got himself a Hunter's Fury. Huge lifeline for Disguise in the round, staying just a little bit short of TSM's 12.
Man, that first frag that Genghsta got, I'd love to see that again. That was,
I don't know where he spammed it. I really don't.
I think it was just through switch, like the wall of switch, yeah. Maybe someone just playing that corner. Either way, he gets that. He gets the recon bolt down low. That gets Clear the confirmation that there are two players there that he needs to wrestle with, and he gets them both. So really well done there by him. He's not going to have the defensive operator coming into this round. Still in play. Hasn't even really been seen yet, other than the one kill at market. So you can never really know where he's going to be with that thing early round.
Well, he's going to get a chance. Shoulder scene, Clear takes it straight off. Goman will fall, but TSM still push forward through this. XXiF may have seen a bit of a cross. Nightfall is out. A little bit of pre-fire coming through. Clear also in position to watch this cross. And oh, what a shot on the Corey, who just dashes through. Clear nearly not done yet, but TSM fight back. 2 kills come their way. We get a 3v3. And it's XXiF, last one left on site. He's completely muted and deafened, and well, with that, he will eventually be taken down. 7 able to collect the kill, plus also get the lockdown in play as he goes for the plant. In Disguise, they do have a fragment to possibly try to delete this, but they're going to back off and pay respects.
Yeah, that's going to slow down their retake process, though. Riku does have the Cosmic Divide, which could block off the back boathouse. That's exactly what he's going to use it for. But it's still about getting the frags they need. These are some great nanos that continue to slow down this retake process.
And it allows TSM to get out from the backside of Archway. Fragment is still using the back. There's a flash over the top. Steel walks in, 1-for-1. But it's Nature! Oh my goodness! What a transfer from Nature! Gets the one on the staircase, snaps over to the second, and TSM are on map point.
Again, it's just TSM continuing to play this very assertive play style, but what's so great about it is their spacing. They're always ready to trade. Yes, Clear gets this 1 kill, and yes, he gets this, but then once they start attacking the site, look at how they're double facing each and every target. They're not giving DSG free 1v1s on the site. They're able just to keep pressing. They're fearless and they're decisive, and they're connecting the dots on their aim now as well.
Wow. Still enough damage dealt, though, by Disguise to get themselves a purchase here in round 19. They also have 3 ultimates at the ready, whereas for TSM, it's just Corey with knives and now Goman with From the Shadow. So the ability to still be resilient in this round is high, but can you actually hold against the full weaponry and utility arsenal that TSM have? First contact could be by way of Corey. Steal in the corner, gives up the space. It will be a knife and a Hunter's Fury to try to maybe get a couple of early kills or damage, but Genghsta once again just coming up a bit empty on this. Does get the 3rd dart to connect, but largely speaking, TSM stay pretty healthy. Odin's trying to finish off kills, and it will take Nature and 7 down to low health, which, how about it? Disguise start to capitalize with 3 kills in the mix, and TSM have been pushed off.
And Kanpeki's been discovered behind this stairwell, and he's got no way really to get out. Eventually run through the blender there, and DSG will finish it off. And again, that's just a great setup from DSG. The combination of the bait and switch setup at middle as well as cat aggression just comes together. Hunter's Fury gets a tag as well. Good recon bolt comes out to discover Kanpeki behind the stairwell of Catwalk. And it's just good team play. And that's what DSG are known for. These just nice utility sequences that are so crafty, I think is really the best way to describe them. And when they're able to close those moments, I mean, they look like they look like a better team than what their record would indicate. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Get out of my way.
So knives and a shorty for Corey in this round. Everyone else can afford weapons, but not full armor for TSM.
Bring them down.
So if you're Disguised, if you were to know that this was the case, you start to think that, okay, we're back in this if we can get to 8.
Very true. TSM looking to once again keep up that pace as far as getting some fast mid control. Clear just backs up in the defensive spawn, just looking to absorb that pressure. Again, relying a lot on this Killjoy utility to kind of defend any type of catwalk into A push that TSM would want to do. Probably going to clear market, so TSM looking to take this mid control deeper.
Oh, flash though in response. Clear! Oh! Nearly had a look, but it's Kanpeki who was just a bit behind this offensive front. That secures the kill, and TSM hold numbers 5v4.
And now they'll just kind of slow things down and force DSG to scramble. They don't really have much intel. The knife gets broken, so they know that one is still mid, but outside of that, they don't really have too much more information. They're just relying on that Killjoy utility on the A site to kind of tip them off about that front, but they're just going to kind of double up their resources on middle.
All the Riku inside, plus the fragment! That's a blind fragment throw at the perfect moment, catching Kanpeki and isolating Nature in the exact same moment. Steel takes down 2, and TSM pushed back from mid-market, which is now where the spike rests. And Disguise are going to set up a little bit of base camp, start cooking up some s'mores here, as the time will likely not allow TSM to do much more at this round.
Dude, I love s'mores.
Me too.
Big fan. I don't think you ever outgrow them.
It's a classic.
It is. How can you have s'more of nothing if you
How can you have s'more of
anything
something if you didn't have anything to begin with? You're killing me, Smalls!
Bruh, that the Sandlot, everyone has to watch that. I don't care what generation you are. Oh man, I can't ever not think about it either when s'mores gets mentioned. I just immediately go to Sandlot.
Yep. The Sultan of SWAT.
Indeed. As a DSG, again, just very crafty in that situation. They know that they're down numbers. They know that they have to kind of roll the dice a little bit. So they just put full faith in XXiF to solo hold A with this utility, and they just build up at middle, and they just play kind of a crossfire setup. Again, the fragment comes in as well as a big part of that, and they just shut down the market press from TSM. And I think a lot of it is because when TSM do finally commit in that late mid-round, I wouldn't say it's telegraphed, but you know they're coming. And I think DSG are just able to like react to it very well with their utility, and obviously just a great crossfire there at market gets the job done.
Yeah.
And Clear is starting to wake up a little bit. I think he was like 1-6 or something early in the game.
Saw it last time out, yeah.
And he has really had some big moments defensively to kind of help start reeling this game back in. But TSM, they still have 4 more chances to win this in regulation. They're taking the time out now to talk things through.
You have to think, if you're TSM, I mean, look at the number of assists that they've already pulled. So the team efficiency is high when it comes to these abilities landing. The problem, once more, continues to be being able to fully execute off of all the success the utility's finding, which is shades of things we saw in week number 5. So definitely things that need to be cleaned up here to try to get this over the hurdle, because DSG are looking mighty fine here with these small defensive adjustments, and especially with Clear on an operator, which he still holds in this round.
And again, TSM wasting no time taking mid control. And I love an attacking team that can establish this type of mid control this early in the round. It gives you so many options throughout the rest of the round to throw fakes and feints and set up site splits and really just kind of keep the defensive rotation guessing, because they're just denied so much space and information. Forces them to have to gamble a little bit here on stacks or rotations where they're just kind of not quite sure if it's the right call. As we are now seeing TSM reform over at A lobby with the spy carrier. So it seems like that's the intended targets.
This is a dangerous defensive setup for this, because really the only thing that can hold Clear safe is that Astra Star, and it's a Nebula that comes out. So now he's stuck on site, no command in, and just an operator to play with. And Guimond has already gotten around the back. That is a beautiful take from TSM, at least initially. Can they hold it, though? That's always been the question of concern, is all of a sudden you've got DSG that are here with numbers and potentially a lockdown. Guimond trying to take away this little pop-up over towards Heaven. Dark cover currently in his way from seeing Riku. Fragment up and over. There's the lockdown. And the fragment does not be guided in that direction at all. So now all of a sudden, Guimond's able to stay up here for free. He may be able to full ramp on this. TSM are trying to retake the lockdown. Back and forth go the kills, and unfortunately for Steel, he could not quite get out of the doorway. TSM take map 1, 13-8.
Indeed, they do. So I guess you could say, in a way, they get a little bit of revenge from the last time, taking the loss to DSG on Ascent in their previous matchup. Again, they just kind of kept up that aggressive play style the entire second half on the attack side, and they eventually found a way to make it work to close, particularly that last attack. Clear was just kind of in no man's land on the site. They overwhelm him with numbers, and then just play the 5-on-4 trading game and post plan after that. You know, lockdown obviously could have been the factor, but they handled it pretty well. So, all in all, again, TSM continued to collect good results, you know, in this kind of latter half of Split 1 and in this mid-season face-off.
Yep. A lot of things to think about. I think I'm most curious to see what the first kills are going to look like on the final scoreboard for the desk, to see if TSM still held an advantage there. And I think maybe just on top of that, how much of a difference maker was the fact that TSM actually won a pistol. We'll send things to a break. The desk will discuss. And we're back for map number 2. Don't go far. You got more TSM Disguise to the backside of the break.
Perfect accuracy.
One enemy remaining.
Done.
One enemy remaining.
One down.
One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
So much for Riku.
Player standing. One enemy remaining.
One suppressed.
One enemy remaining.
With eBay Refurbished, you have a choice of refurbished qualities to best fit your budget. Certified refurbished items are restored by the manufacturer to like new for up to 50% off. This drill was barely out of the box. Soon it will be back to working like new. Here's how it works. Every item is carefully inspected. Any imperfections are fixed by the manufacturer or manufacturer-approved vendor. Then it's tested to make sure it's working perfectly. Once it passes inspection, it's given the verified stamp of approval. Then repackaged with new accessories and shipped to its ultimate destination. With Certified Refurbished, you can shop with confidence because all our manufacturers go through a rigorous vetting process. And every purchase comes with an award-winning 2-year warranty, a money-back guarantee, and hassle-free returns. That's what makes it the smarter way to shop for premium brands. eBay Refurbished. Like new products, better than new prices.
A strong first map in our first series of the day as TSM takes the victory on Ascent. But I gotta give credit to DSG. They fought hard trying to make that game continue on further. And honestly, Dryad, even looking at that last round, it kind of looked like that was going to be Disguised's round to take, and we were going to see a continuation of that second half, potentially even overtime.
Although that feels like the story from the beginning to the end of those rounds, and the casters were saying it, the beginning and the planning that DSG had was good, but then when it came down to the execution at the very end of the round, when they had to actually close them out, that's when the struggle started to happen. A couple of the things that I noticed was, I believe it was round number 6, it was a 3v2, one of them trying to peek to get another kill and still not managing to make things even. And it was happening over and over again, while on the other side, TSM looks a lot more solid. And obviously, they didn't go for it with that change of roles that DSG did. So that plays a part in it, and that plays a part into why the score is not the same or even closer to what we expected. But it was still well fought, like you said, for DSG.
Yeah, I definitely think that both teams showed up today. I'm really pleased with the performance from both sides that we saw. The beginning of the map went just as we all predicted again. DSG won the pistol once more when they were on the attacking side and the second round, so they had the advantage early on like we all knew. But guess what? TSM ended up getting their first pistol in 7 halves in 4 maps once they swapped over to the defense side. I think Nature did a really good job as well. He was such a nuisance with an Odin on the defensive side, in my opinion. Ascent's a really good map to be super annoying with the Odin. And also, we saw an interesting round from Corey on the last half. We all witnessed that. Let's be real. We saw those knives, but that's okay. We don't have to continue talking about that if we don't want.
So, you mentioned the Odin play. It's funny because that's something that Steel has been kind of known for, at least in North America, being a player that typically buys the Odin. Doesn't go for it here. A lot of role changes, puts him in a position where maybe he wouldn't feel as comfortable with it, given that he is now swapping over to KO. XXiF is filling the role of the Sentinel. Riku goes from Sentinel to Controller. Clear and Genghsta are the only ones that really get to play the comfortable roles that they're used to playing. So the fact that DSG can actually put up 8 rounds against TSM, given that they swapped a significant portion of their roles around, is impressive. And I do like some of the mid-round calls we saw from Disguised. Like we saw that really fast B execute that puts, I think it was XXiF on Sidewalk. And then everyone's like, you know what? Back off. Let's get out of here. So they strand XXiF on site and they start running back to mid. The problem is, I don't know if they really did a good enough job of selling how they were doing that, because they started to rotate back towards mid. It results in a bit of a fracas in mid, and the kills go back and forth in each direction. At that point, XXiF strikes, finds 2. They're like, okay, let's go back B. Then XXiF dies. It's like, no, never mind, let's go A. That's the round you're talking about, where it ends up coming down to a 2-on-2 and then eventually a 2-on-1 with Corey on site. That was a little awkward, but Corey still ended up having a pretty solid game, 19 and 13, not necessarily sitting at the top of the charts with the ACS, but definitely had heavy impact, especially when they needed him most.
And at that point, like you said, there were a lot of very reactionary rounds that we got to see for DSG, of going back and forth and trying to see what was going on. We saw it, I said it round 6, it was also round 18, with Clear managing to get 2 kills, looking really strong, and then looking for a little bit more, everybody rotating. But at that point, it was TSM, just Corey and Nature, absolutely on fire throughout this map. They were shutting down the play single-handedly in so many scenarios. So it's a TSM, and we heard it a little bit more in that video, right? It's a TSM that said that they were gonna win it more consistently. They already did it for map number 1.
I also saw another interesting round from DSG, and again, I think Steel is a huge in-game leader with all of these insane ideas. Round 10 in particular, they got a main control to grab the Hunter's Fury, and then they made their way back towards B main. And I think that was very important, because once they popped off the Sova ult for back of sight, then we missed Riku over here. Riku's in mid, and he does an insane flank, all while they're dodging the Sova ult in the back of B site. And that was a really cool round, because they're expecting them to just flush out from B main, and nobody's expecting the huge Riku flank on that round, in particular round 10.
Yeah, there was a lot of lopsided takes. There was a round where they get pushed from long A, a player dies from behind in mid. Then they 2-2 split with XXiF in main, and I think it was Genghsta in mid, and 2 players going up through Cat into Tree into the A site. There's still players long. Like there was rounds that, quite frankly, made almost no sense, but they started to work. It was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the worst idea. It just was strange, it was peculiar. But as we take a look at the map pool, it is important to remember this was Disguised's pick. This is a map that came in to the group stages with a very strong record, looking specifically at the qualifiers. They really didn't have much significant play before that, so they were 10-2 coming into today from the start of the year. They were 1-2 in challengers, now dropping to 1-3, unfortunately for them. We move over to Fracture. This is not a map from their previous series, so they did not play TSM on Fracture. The last time they played, it was Haven in place of Fracture. They played Ascent and Lotus. Fracture is it's not like a map we have a lot of info on when you look at Disguise. They've only played it once. It was a 13-2 over Mad Lions. I mean, they walloped them. But Dryad, we got to be fair, a lot of people walloped Mad Lions. It was not a strong season for them, so it's hard to really look at that as an indicator of success, looking specifically at Disguise.
Yeah, that's the thing, because we haven't seen Fracture, like you said, for any of these enough. And that was also week 2, and it was against Mad Lions. At 13-2, where you start to evaluate how good was it, the game plan, and how much was it Mad Lions really struggling to get something going on. And obviously, the Mad Lions conversation is a whole other topic, but this is, once again, the real test for DSG, because we talked about maybe them having a beneficial map pool into this one. Okay, they don't win this first map, they get a chance into the second one, and it's a little bit of unknown territory where some coaches, some IGLs, they benefit so much more on the information that the enemy team is able to give them from early matches. And when that's not the case, you got to see how DSG is going to adapt on the fly. We can expect maybe those reactionary rounds that we saw on Ascent.
We also talked about it, Em, at the top of the show. This could be a pocket pick for TSM, because even though they've played it 3 times this year, we haven't seen them play it once throughout Challengers. And one of the things that we've seen a lot of teams do, even just looking at, like, say, week 1 of groups to now, a lot of changes, a lot of adaptations, agent compositions and roles swapped around. This is a very big question mark right now for TSM. We don't really know, Em, what they're going to bring to the table.
Yeah, they might have changed it, what their plan is on the previous time we did see them on Fracture. We haven't seen them play like we were talking about in this split series yet. So that's why I'm thinking that they might have changed something. But it wasn't necessarily their first ban either. So it seems like they were prepared to play it if they needed to. But I'm very happy with how DSG played, considering that they did role swaps. So I'm excited to see that continued role swap going on to Fracture. I think that it's a really good role swap that they did really well. As something as well with Steel is this player was one of the first KOs that I used to study in the scene when nobody else wanted to use KO. So I'm very happy to see Steel back onto KO, and I'm almost certain that we'll see that pick for Fracture now too.
And that's the thing that I think people don't really remember. We were actually talking about it before the show even went live. We were all hypothesizing whether we were going to see Disguised come in with the role swap, because it's one of the things that has definitely plagued them since the departure of Exalt. Well, we saw it, and it wasn't necessarily a swap for some people. It was just a return home. But it does look like our second match is just about ready to go live. We are going to be jumping into Fracture, and we'll see if Disguised can try to find a win here on a map that we just really don't have a whole lot of information on them about. We'll send it over to our casters and see what they bring to the table.
Not much more we could bring besides what you guys brought. I mean, lots of questions because of the lack of recency that we've seen both these two teams play this map. Now, so, I mean, how much do we want to just go off of inferences and history that's almost 2.5 months old? I think there are some indications. I like the fact that M brings up the fact that Steel on a KO could still be a resurgence pick here, but there's more, I think, to both sides on recent results we may be able to kind of utilize in this agent select us.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, with Disguise, they only have played this map twice this year. Once was a massive loss to what is now Turtle Troop in the qualifiers, and then, of course, they had that big win against Mad Lions in week 2, so that was some time ago. TSM goes even further back than that. They haven't played this since the Ludwig Tarek Invitational. That was way back in mid-January, so 2 months and some change since they last played an official on this map. And right now, we're kind of seeing what I expected, other than the fact that in the past, TSM has played more double controller on this map as opposed to double initiator.
Right.
They're liking to use the Viper quite a bit. So this is definitely a pivot in that regard. Also, when they were playing double control, they were playing Astra Viper, so bringing a Brimstone is also a bit of a tweak for them as well. And Cypher has been what they have been using. They were using Killjoy in the past, but Cypher was used in their last game as well. So no real shocker there, and both these teams do favor the Rays. So again, no real surprise there either.
Yeah, I think this has been one of the more meta compositions for this map. We've seen a ton of Breach Brimstone isolation on these two spike sites, so that makes sense. And then obviously based off of that, you're going to get a lot more value out of things like a Raze comparatively to a Jet or something like it. So yeah, I think I agree with you on your take of it, but we'll see how things unfold. Could TSM show that, video hype through about can they just be better at the pistol, or will Disguise still be able to tilt a little bit of advantage their way early in these halves? We'll find out as TSM's on the defense, Disguised on the attack, looking to go over through tree initially, with XXiF just kind of in his spy cam watching for anything early. On the back there is the early sky smoke being placed. Disguised actually clearing out Canteen, interestingly enough, and a chance to come around the back of this defense through mid-spawn. Kanpeki, is he good for it? Sure. The first one's there. Ray's also following up, but it looks like at the moment Disguised will get away with this and get back.
Yeah, but they're kind of just boxed into this weird position, but they're starting to fight their way out of it. Corey and Kanpeki do respond, though, and they put Riku in a tough 1 versus 2 situation. Riku is able to collect the spike. He can easily bring it either way he wants, as he's trying to wrap around this defense, maybe even try to get a shot in the back on someone. Timing's going to be everything, and he just misses out on it. So now they're coming up there together, and Corey will win the 1v1 in the end for the hat trick. And so that was a very interesting little strat there from Disguised. I kind of liked it. It's just that TSM rotated into it perfectly in their spawn and just kind of cut it off. So it was a cool idea, but it seemed like TSM were able to respond pretty quickly to it.
Yeah, just good people in the right places to make sure utility can contest that push through, because otherwise, yeah, I think TSM may have been the team that was trapped on the site for a moment there. So an interesting pistol to say the least. TSM now going into largely SMGs. We have Spectres in the mix with a Bulldog and a Judge, whereas once more, it'll be Disguised just trusting clear with the Sheriff, everyone else on Classics.
Yeah, looking to just kind of work this bottom side of B early here. Up through stairs, trying to grab this orb. Very aggressive A setup early from TSM as they're trying to just push through dish and get some intel and maybe even set up a flank.
Well, Once more, Disguised, taking away a lot of space. Only player on site at the moment is 7. Up top in towards B tower. The defense is quickly rotating over towards Arcade though. They have a good look at these players down low, but how about Clear in the corner? The fault line's actually going to connect. Clear looking for more, gets a second. Flash is also in the mix, but Clear will say, I've done my job. Try to back away, but 7 finally gets activated for B tower, finds elimination, and goes back to his judge ways. While once more, Disguised are a bit stuck at the moment, waiting for XXiF to possibly open up space into tree.
Yeah, they're getting double flanked still from the dish side. They're going to choose to swing it together. Corey getting some good damage off, and he and Nature will combine for 2. But that's going to keep Disguised the man ahead. 7 trying to pick up a sheriff here and just immediately be on the flank. Spike takes the zip line down the bottom side
left.
A, getting as far away from 7 as possible. Who now does have the Spectre. XXiF is watching to see if he's going to fall back into B site as the spike does make its way in. So really good reactions here from Disguise. They'll be able to play together on site, and 7's way out of position.
Yeah.
Really well handled.
Very well handled. I was about to say, we've seen this time and time again with Disguise, down early in eco advantages. They find a way to make these rounds at worst punishing. And now at this point, looking good for what may not be fully listed as a thrifty, but oh, nice little maneuver there by 7. Jumps over the top of the trap wire. Does he expect
would have heard that,
on the
though.
corner? That's what I was going to say. Spy cam is up. 7 has been seen. And how about it? The thrifty comes through. A little eBay shout out with that. And Disguised early on, giving us a tie at 1.
Yeah, it's obviously great decision making from Disguise, and again, they're just so known for being able to be so crafty, but I do want to say this was really sloppily handled by TSM. The cam spotted this 3-man flank from Dish, so they were found out, and they were so focused on the underpass, they never bothered to look at that left platform that Clear was just able to basically get free shots off from. So I think they could have been a little bit better on how they swung as a unit with the superior firepower to handle that moment. But also, you got to give credit to Disguise for taking advantage of that situation and pulling out the thrifty and now forcing TSM onto a save.
Well, it's going to be trap wire. And what was a spy cam for Disguise in the bottom part of the map. Otherwise, everything else is going towards the north. TSM looking to get proactive. Do take care of all of that Cypher utility. And now we're moving rapidly back over towards tree. Disguise have yet to commit, though. And as Steel's earned the null command, that could be an early tool to really get yourself up early.
Yeah, they're looking to kind of start getting some control of this drop position. Clear, starting to kind of live up to his name and take care of some of these corners. Making sure no one's playing. Now they will double back to B, though. Again, they don't really have too much intel on the defenses. Now they do.
Yep. May not
Loud
have
and clear, buddy. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
May not have fully seen 7 up top, but I think you've seen enough, and I think this rotation will give us the answer that, yep, they have seen enough. Little stim beacon just to try to hustle through over to A. Clear still very cautious, though, about what may be lingering, and now with the knife revealing that no one's nearby, Disguise will get their post-plant setup underway.
Yeah, now it's just going to be a TSM trying to just make this full flanking maneuver through Dish. But Riku playing a nice little off angle
Well
here.
done.
Going to handle that very easily. Last 2 coming through the defensive spawn area here on the bottom side of the map. Steel, play in the corner.
Sees 1. Bulldog out. Genghsta on his left hip. We'll finish it off. Okay. A sheet's flawless here for Disguise. Again, this is the map that we have not seen either of these 2 teams play yet, but now we're going to start to get our full taste of it now that both teams can fully purchase.
Yeah, worth noting last time Disguise played this map, they got 10 attacking rounds in the first half against Mad Lions. TSM, on the other hand, when they were playing this map during the Ludwig Tarek Invitational, they were basically built off of big defenses. They got 8 defensive rounds in the first half in both their games against T1 and Sentinels, and then kind of, you know, just close things out pretty tightly in the second half. So there's some trends to maybe keep an eye on.
Force suppressed.
Wow, lots of information off that knife. Nature absolutely under threat. Fault lines called in. Nature careful. Fragment trying to give him some space, but he loses a little bit of oversight here as 7 drops from B tower. And the follow-up utility not going to be able to get him out of dodge. Kanpeki does tally at least 1 elimination towards B tree, keeping the numbers somewhat limited, but Disguised hold huge advantages here early in the round.
Yeah, that was a really good setup there on the top side of B, just to set up the exchanges there. Really trap Nature in no man's land. Eventually take the man advantage. Now they'll double back over to A side. There are a couple of players here in A main defensively for TSM, but no one on the side itself. So definitely going to be looking to play retake here as they wait for the rotation from Kanpeki. Gamon, though, catching one on the cross.
This could get interesting. Opportunity still for Steel to be resurrected into the mix, and that will be not fully allowed to happen. Clear could not fully get him up, so now it's all of a sudden just down to Riku. Steel is about to expire. Showstopper earned. Corey trying to catch him on a corner, but Riku's gotten away from it. Now the 1v1! Oh, the shots from Riku land flawlessly to Corey, and Disguise still hold on to the round.
Dude, Riku has just been bonkers, man.
This guy's good, man.
He has been the super sub. He may have earned himself a full-time spot on this team next split. I'm not sure what their plans were long-term, but Riku all of a sudden has to be in the conversation. You feel like doesn't matter what role it seems, again, coming from an academy team background. We've had a couple of guys kind of come through that system. Sims the same way from Oxygen Academy that have been able to prove themselves at this next tier of competition.
Yeah.
So, again, shout out to Riku.
Jeez. Maybe a little bit of contact here at Dish. Oh, Nature falling back gets a headshot on the Clear somehow, some way. And then Kanpeki on the other side completely entraps this disguised play. And wow, it's all falling apart at the seams here. This guy's trying to jump up, get away back over towards where the spike is, but the flash play from Nature is solid. And it'll be a Sheets flawless this time for TSM as we bring it back to within one.
So, in case you're new and you don't really know these two teams or this map, you're going to see a lot of them rounds, bro. TSM likes to get in your face early, and this is a map that I would say almost kind of forces defensive aggression in a lot of ways because there's so many different areas an attacking team could be coming from. And so if you're just playing back on site, you're just lacking so much information in map control. And you're at that point, you're forced to gamble or forced to play retakes. And so kind of pressing one of those areas early is kind of what gives you a chance to gain an advantage, get some intel, and then you can kind of play off of that. So TSM are going to be a very proactive defensive team on this map through and through. This time, it's bottom side B that they choose.
And I love this idea from TSM because Kanpeki's Rolling Thunder can be used to retake this site, which 7 is voluntarily giving away at the moment.
Yep.
It's just trap wires and a spy cam trying to hold on to whatever he can, maybe force out as much utility as he can. Gotta keep in mind, Disguise with the free plant also have the benefit and luxury of a Rolling Thunder. XXiF, first point of contact. Can't quite get away from everything. Fault line will hold him in place in towards halls. Rolling Thunder here to follow. That's actually offensively used to clear out over towards ropes. But this TSM defense is all coming through hall side, so it's a bit of a miss here. And now it's just down to can you find the eliminations, possibly into the face of this defensive Rolling Thunder. There it is, arms are out, but even that's gonna miss the majority of the offense. Both of those Rolling Thunders come up a bit MC. Genghsta trying to punish, gets 2, third around the corner. Oh, the snap is nearly there. Nature underhands 1, and that will be enough for the follow-up to come through as there's just too much to watch at once. But is the time gonna be enough for the defuse? It'll be close.
Indeed it will. Looks like he's got it though, just barely. Let's see the call on it. 1.47, so not as tight as we thought. All even here. What a scrappy game this has been so far. But Fracture kind of just plays into that type of slugfest type of style, especially when you have one team that's being very aggressive early round, which TSM has done almost each and every round defensively. They now come into this one, both teams having 3 alts. Full buy for TSM. Tough decisions to make here for DSG. You have a couple of rifles here, but a Sheriff only for clear. But he does have the Showstopper. Certainly help grab some ground.
And still leads to, obviously, a formidable purchase when it comes down to rifles supporting this. TSM, once again, getting aggressive. And, oh, boy, there's got to be a response to this at some point if you're Disguised. Oh, just hellfire rains down in multiple forms. And TSM have absolutely capitulated anything DSG were trying to put together here at B-Tree.
Bro, that combination of orbital strike and paint shells, it's like you can't run back to spawn. You're gonna get burned, or you're gonna eat these paint shells. Choose the way you want to go out. What are you feeling today?
Yeah.
Not to mention just the bulk of rifles that are pushed behind it, just spaced out perfectly for trades. And again, that is TSM's strength, man.
Yeah,
they are fearless, they are decisive, and their spacing is always setting them up for good trading opportunities. You never feel like someone's stranded.
Wow.
And when they get rolling, they're just going to get that momentum. And that could be a very oppressive playstyle to play against and react to on the fly.
Flashbang.
All right, so 3 rounds in a row for Disguised. TSM, 3 rounds of their own. Showstopper now out early. And Corey's going to get value from it, even though XXiF had already fallen to Kanpeki with a little bit of assistance from the Stim Beacon. Oh, how about the response? Fireball sent right back into the face of TSM, so Disguised have countered with a little bit of aggression of their own. The Paint Shell's actually getting some chip damage as well here. So Disguised on pistols with Riku on the solo rifle have gotten a plant, and they are pushing TSM way back.
Yeah, 7 gonna get a little bit of intel with that neural theft on some of this post-plant positioning. Nature able to connect Genghsta pretty quickly here, so this retake starting to have some legs to it all of a sudden. It's a 5-on-3. Corey low on health though.
And Riku up top. A major threat to worry about. Steel, though, has to do something. Orbital strike going to be called in. Bamond on the corner. Oh, just gets a small peek timing. Riku will drop once again. The defuse will be tight. I don't know if they've got it this time, though.
Yeah, they do.
Just barely 0.34.
So even tighter than last time. If it keeps trending this way, eventually one of those things is going to pop. But again, TSM are just keeping up the same trend. They're picking a spot, they're aggressing it. They either get a man advantage out of it, or at least they're getting some type of intel and map control. And then they're just very confident in playing these retakes. So if you're DSG, that's tough because you never know which side the aggression's coming from. They've changed it up a couple different times. They've pushed dish, they've pushed top B, they've pushed, you know, bottom B. Like they've done a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And Disguised, they're obviously pretty well known for some of their like set piece executes on these sites, but it's tough when you're kind of, you know, using this utility to get onto a site that might just be empty that TSM are playing retake on, and then you don't maybe have as much left over to defend against the retake. And you're just basically playing a guessing game. That's kind of how Fracture is in a lot of ways. Like, you got a 1 in 4 shot on choosing the right call on what you want to push. And if you choose it correctly, you gain a ton. If you miss out, then it just kind of comes down to your response on the retake.
That is exactly how Fracture plays. Especially with, again, like you mentioned, the tempo and timing that TSM are playing with, it forces that type of gameplay to happen. So lots of things to discuss here for Disguise as far as, do you counter with aggression of your own, or do you try to maybe play a little bit more passive and receive some of this TSM aggression?
Yeah. I think the other tough part is when you're going through all these role swaps, and again, you're a little bit newer to having Riku on the team, being able to respond to that chaos rapidly enough to defend against it can be tough.
Yeah.
They're going bottom B again. This is the 3rd time in a row. No one throws rock 3 times in a row.
Well, this time
until they do.
Well, I was going to say rock with a little bit of an adjustment here because 7 was trying to play aggressive also through drop, but he gets caught out. Good survivability from Disguise, staying alive through the fault line combination as well.
Yeah, TSM are kind of spread thin here. They're double pressing XXiF at the bottom side. They get that frag, but it's the breach kind of just solo on A side, and he's in a lot of trouble.
Kanpeki stays alive, finds a kill while Flash. Riku there to follow up, but 1 for 1 is not bad news for TSM, especially considering, like you mentioned, how stretched out they were. So now we go to a 3v3 retake, and no ultimates available from either side. This will be done the hard way for TSM.
Yeah, Corey coming through main, the other 2 coming through spawn. Steel trying to play a bit of a bait and switch setup with his teammate who's kind of jiggle peeking from the double stack. Now they'll just stack up together and press forward.
Oh no.
Freebie for Steel though.
And now Genghsta's kind of on an island by himself. Fault line out. Nature gets around it, finds the kill. Down to Riku. 1v3 situation. There's a player in front, and then 2 from his left. Deals with the first one and the second! Oh, almost for the 1v3 and the ace. But Corey survives. And we won't have to put a question mark on this defuse plenty of time.
Yeah, that might have been the safest one yet. 2.32 seconds. So trending back the opposite direction now all of a sudden. As again, what TSM is really priding themselves on these rounds is they are always getting something out of their push. It's either putting them at man advantage or it's keeping them equal and giving them vital intelligence on where they need to be retaking very quickly. And their retakes are very strong. And I do almost wonder if there was a bit of a miscomm there between Genghsta and Steel when he pressed a lobby like that. He kind of just gave a 1v1 away.
Yeah, a little bit, right? It's just he was just a little bit too far behind.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you know, Genghsta misses the fault line timing, which is a little unfortunate, and then he just gets swept. So it seemed like there was something a little bit off there.
That or the
Oh
off
my
angle
God.
was just a bit too strong to deal with it. Come on, aggressive. Nature gonna sit in the aftershock just to get one. So he trades out his own life. The numbers stay with TSM, but there will be a plant here for Disguised, who still have the luxury of a neural theft if Ziff can get to a body.
That's very true, and they're trying to set up something here with the paint shells first to slow it down, and they had the pop flash set up here for
Really
Ziff
well
to jump
done.
up. All that does is kind of slow things down, though. They didn't get the frag they needed.
Oh, but look at the follow-up, though. Knife, fragment, all of it well placed, and the clock continues to be Disguised's alley. Maybe finally it will show up and get him around, though. TSM have to go quickly. Steal, top corner, over the top of the Sky Smoke. Clear the first one down, gets the opening first blood of this engagement, and then Steal gets the follow-up. Oh, this is just as good as you'd like for Disguised's post plant. They received the 3v4 beautifully and get on the board for their fourth.
Yeah, really well handled. A man down that situation, but they did such a great job of setting up inside defensive spawns so they weren't bottlenecked to the site. And then they just played their utility so well. They kept slowing down the drop push. You know, whether it was the paint shells, whether it was the flashing, you know, the fragment comes out with the knife. Then they're able to start just playing these little crossfires from spawn and A main. And so
This goes here.
a great adjustment from Disguise to put a round on the board after a 5-round drought. But now we're back to full versus full. Both teams have Rolling Thunder available, but DSG has the overall home advantage.
Early engagement again. Clear takes a lot of damage, stays alive. The defensive Rolling Thunder. On top of that, though, it's immediate counter with the Orbital Strike to support, but Corey stays alive through that. Lots of pressure towards his direction at Arcade, but he holds the position, and now Disguised have a new threat to worry about.
And Clear's so low on health, though, and now he's going to get caught out. The flash attempt to re-peek into Corey, but Corey holds
Wow.
down. Corey gets them all! Oh, my goodness.
Oh, stays alive through a Rolling Thunder and Orbital Strike, and the kitchen sink, as you would have said last week from
That's very
Disguised.
true.
So now it's a 2v5.
Oh,
and in
boy.
round 11, you have to make some decisions here if you're Disguised as far as how much do you really want to go for this with the economy
Spike
and the
down,
situation
B.
that it is. But they try to commit, and Ziff will only find one of the 5, TSM to 7.
TSM starting to grab a little bit of an edge here, and remember the context of this match. This is the elimination match in the bottom end of the bracket. You had to place within the top 4 of this event to get any points for VCL, which is your main goal for being here, right? Is to try to get those points and maybe grab a little bit of extra cash as well. And for a team like Disguise, they're at the bottom end of the pool right now. They're ranked 8th. They only have 7 points. It means the world to them to get some points out of this event, whereas TSM already ranked within the top 4. So just wanted to add a little bit of context to how important this map really is for Disguise to grab and try to keep the series rolling.
It's a really good point. So now it's 2 rifles, 3 sheriffs. Clear is 1 off from a showstopper. You know his eyes continue to go right down towards that orb, saying, I need this. And it looks like he will be giving it for free.
The most passive setup we've seen from TSM so far this half is on the final round. Just really relying on this utility on B from the Cypher to kind of guard the entrance here.
Showstopper out. Right on into the mix, and oh, it's well executed, but Kanpeki actually denies the ability for the weapon to get collected. Seven's going to swap between a Judge and a Vandal that he's got at his feet. Talk about big money pockets there. Showstopper over the strike being sent on towards site. That will take care of Genghsta. And TSM's passive setup so far working out, but not out of the woods yet. Steel's flash decent, but the Judge just holds down the trigger. Chunks away, 1 onto Steel. And 7, again, just toggling between that Judge and this Phantom. Keeps B Tower in TSM's position. It's all down to Ziff for the 1v3.
He's definitely issued his sentencing
30
from the
seconds
pulpit.
left.
Putting down so many as Ziff now in a tough 1v3. They know exactly where he is.
Well, he gets the first nicely. Kanpeki, deep. Oh, and Ziff has got information. There's another player on top, but yeah, Govan gets out from behind the cover, stacks up with his teammate, and TSM take the half 8-4. Getting a little tense now, especially if DSG don't take this pistol.
Again, this is the 3rd game in a row that TSM has started on defense on this map and have gotten 8 rounds. A little bit of a different composition, a couple of months separation, a couple of different opponents, obviously, playing against some of the teams that are in the VCT Americas between Sentinels and T1.
One enemy
The
remaining.
result still rings the same. Skies had a couple of moments there in the middle of the half where he thought they were going to rein things back in, but that play from Corey was such a big statement.
One enemy remaining.
Man. So many rounds in this series, Disguised have been so close to pulling off. In that half in particular,
Right.
it was a difference of a collective, what, 2.6 seconds between them and 2 other rounds?
That's very true. Yeah,
So-
there's definitely some close ones.
That's the difference
Now-
between a 6-6 and an 8-4.
Shoe on the other foot. TSM looking to get proactive defensively. They do grab the orb here inside A lobby, and they're going to keep pushing. They're looking to set up the flank here. DSG are feeling that pressure, looking to pinch B, which is the more vulnerable target right now. So they have a good read of the lay of the land.
Yeah. Just comes down to the fact that this 3-man hit around the back has been revealed. The flash out, but Nature cannot follow up. 1-for-1 goes the initial play. Now the flash on the other side, but Corey just spams the frenzy out and comes away on top. Oh my. So now it's just down to Genghsta, and from a classic position at Canteen, he cannot take care of Guamon, and TSM take a huge pistol, now up 9-4, forcing Disguise to put something together here in the second again.
Man, you were kind of liking Disguise chances there for a moment.
Sure
when
was.
They survived that first flash on the bottom side of B, plus they had the flank off. I mean, it was looking pretty good. Initial interactions seemed to be trending their direction, but TSM were so quick to respond back. I mean, Corey's having a hell of a game right now, 18-8. Obviously, Kanpeki and Gamon doing some heavy lifting as well. Again, Riku's had a heck of a time, but outside
been
of that,
great.
no one else really jumped off the page.
Suppressing.
Man, a lot of thoughts and reactions about what this Disguise team has been through, what they're going through right now, but it all lests to what we have right here. 2 Sheriffs, 3 Classics. Can Disguise continue to be great in these eco-disadvantaged rounds? TSM are, I think, they've learned their lesson. They're paying some respect here, taking their time, making sure they're clear and everything.
Yeah, big push through Dish from Disguise, 3 players strong. They will destroy the camera, so obviously Seven's kind of aware this will prompt TSM to just go ahead and pull the trigger on the A side itself, knowing how many resources must have been committed to push Dish. So a good response again from TSM. They're very good at rolling with the punches, like kind of understanding, okay, you push us here, we're going to push there.
Plant gets off. Disguise will have the numbers here for a while, as 7 is still lurking all the way at B. He will be able to get through the defensive spawn, and it doesn't look like anyone from Disguise is going to expect this, but DSG can get on with some numbers and some force. Maybe there's a chance to know. Now they know the threat. 7 reveals himself. Lots of damage taken, and TSM are cleaning up with these SMGs, just forcing Disguised into that threat area. And it steals the last one left. He's going to try to come through, and well, he does all right to navigate a few of the cyber cages, but TSM take the round relatively cleanly.
Yeah, and this is kind of do or die now. We're starting to very much near map and series point for TSM. And there's not really too many buying opportunities for DSG left. I mean, they've got a full buy coming up this next round, and then after that, if they take the loss, you're in a very tough spot where you're looking to maybe even just force buy to survive for the rest of the series. As you can start stringing some rounds together in a row. This is a bonus, though, for TSM. That's a great opportunity for DSG to get back on the board and start trying to reel this thing back in.
All right. Have to have it, though, here for sure. The cleaner, the better. Riku, watching off this close angle, is going to get a lot of information and even tallies and elimination on the front side of the play. Knife to follow. Fault line being held if needed, but TSM will respect it, back away, and try to play this 4v5 the rest of the way out.
Yeah, smoke kind of deters them from pressing any further on that drop position. Really great opening from Riku, and very good job to get away immediately. So you are going to see TSM looking like they want to maybe start gathering up here, but this could get very awkward with this A push.
Yeah.
The timing is going to be everything on this. Oh, boy.
Yep. This could get really hairy really quickly. The timing isn't quite there. Oh, my gosh.
It still could happen, though.
Yeah,
the thing
it
is, the
still
trap
could.
wire is
Yep.
here, though.
Yep.
And it's that you can't jump this. Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh, this time the timing is clear. No, brother.
No!
Oh, the fault line paint shells combo also going to miss a bit here. TSM now on site, trying to get themselves established. Steel able to follow up at least for one. XXiF will be right there to help reinforce the defense. Okay.
It's okay.
Got
You
a
are
little
now
weird,
forgiven.
but we're good.
You've been cleansed of your sins, Clear. Oh, boy. That was because it was so smart. It was so crafty. You just couldn't connect the bullets there, but they still want it winning the round. So no harm, no foul. They get that 5th. Onto the full buy versus full buy, though. And credits are fragile in these situations. And for DSG, it's even more stressful considering how far behind they are. But now this is where they can maybe start trying to settle into the half. Now that they have their economy in order, they're starting to near some alts. Showstopper is already available for Corey as an opening tool.
Oh, it's just one of those games again where you just feel Disguise is going to give us a thrill. The Corey Showstopper could be a huge pivot factor in this round in particular, as there's going to be a defense double stacked largely over towards ropes. And you've got the defense of Clear on drop, a bit isolated away from this. So, again, the ability for Disguise to contest is going to be pretty limited off of the setup.
They're just going to dry peek all the way in and eventually satchel to the sights. Showstopper as a part of it. Big win, though, for Clear at the bottom side to help give more positioning for this retake for DSG.
Oh, but Disguise, you would think they really needed to at least try to put a little bit of threat over towards Halls, try to keep TSM on site a little bit longer, but 3 members from TSM back out of here. Lots of utility starting to connect. Riku in trouble off the reload. Gamon looking for timing. He gets one, but flashed up will not be able to take anything more with him. And now all of a sudden, Disguised have a full lay of the land. Paint Shells assisting, and the clearance is good for round number 6 to come through.
That was such a big win for Clear at Dish. It just gave them another foothold to have to launch their retake back onto the A site. TSM basically get funneled all of their players back into A main, where they just get eaten up by utility from Disguised, and Genghsta coming from up top grabs his man, and just really well played round from Disguised. Now they have Riku with the orbital strike. They're still on their full buy. TSM still able to scrap together something here, but it's less than ideal. Stinger only for Corey. Sheriff for 7. They do have the orbital strike in their own right, though. So they still do pose a little bit of a threat here.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're Disguised, there's no reason to hold off of potentially using round-changing ultimates here. Orbital strike already out immediately. TSM looking for ground quickly, and they will get it.
They found my wire.
Disguised looking to re-wrap back in from the defensive spawn. You've got Ziff still holding a corner here at Canteen, but is blocked off by the Sky Smoke, and with that nature, will get a chance to try to plant. The orbital strike is in a really good position, and that actually finds a kill. A little bit of a juggle with the spike allows maybe a chance for Corey to get a quick plant, but now the Aftershock will push him out, and Disguised definitely hold the top card currently as Ziff takes down Corey, and the spike continues to be relinquished on the back side of the site. Clear denies tree, and it looks good for DSG at a key round.
I mean, DSG orchestrated this round so well from start to finish. I mean, just Steel outmaneuvering the orbital strike and staying alive and getting back into spawn. Then they use their own combination of utility between their own orbital strike as well as the utility of Genghsta to just never let TSM settle into sight for a spike plant. And then as the smoke starts to fade and as DSG are able to start getting vision, they're able to just start clearing house. And now they are going to find themselves with the sheets flawless.
Wow.
Brilliantly played round. Obviously, the flank was kind of the final exclamation point at the end of that statement, but man alive, like a round they needed, you know, obviously really badly to try to get back into the series, and they come through.
Yeah. And just the ability for DSG to stay patient, considering how heavy-handed that hit initially was for TSM, to kind of know how they're going to contest that spike plant was key. Only giving away one ultimate. Now you still have the Nerdle Theft and a Showstopper here. And you start to think that Disguised, you win this round, you're looking pretty solid to possibly string the handful together, as Clear will go quickly with the Showstopper. Kind of bumps his head, though. Doesn't quite get the gains of ground that he was looking for. And that will be a blind Showstopper, not really gaining much besides Steel's ability to earn himself an ult command.
It does open up map control, though, and it sets up the very quick flank for this retake, so he still does gain ground with it at the very least, so he doesn't get the frag that he was perhaps looking for. TSM going to go ahead and get the spike plant onto A, again with that fast-paced attack that they're so well known for, and so we're set up with another situation that we find ourselves often, a quick retake.
Yeah, Genghsta off the opener. Ziff follows up. Trade is here. But as Govan will drop, the last one really standing in the way is 7, who can only find one of the 3 coming down halls, and Disguised have now quickly gotten themselves back in this map with a couple of rounds rapidly in a row.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job in their own right, being aggressive on this defensive side. Particularly their bottom B pushes have been just as successful as TSM's were in the last half. Not only that, but they're having some pretty stress-free retakes. Like, these rounds haven't even really been close. Like, the Skies are sweeping them as they come through on these trades. These last 4 rounds have been all TSM all day. And so now the timeout comes in from TSM, or excuse me, all the skies all day, rather. As TSM definitely has some thinking to do here, because they are starting to get in a spot where they're taking sites very easily, but it's kind of all according to plan for Disguise because of how they're setting up their retakes. So it's about trying to figure out how to play out some of these late round scenarios a little bit better, is what TSM are probably thinking here.
Yeah, I maybe trying to give Corey a little bit of help could be part of the conversation here too, because it seems like he's again kind of reaping up the first engagements, but the follow-up isn't quite there. Maybe something to be said about trying to get the post plan a bit more secured, because honestly speaking, Disguise, like you just mentioned, like their ability to capitalize off of these quick TSM hits with some aggression of their own and these retakes has been uber successful. And maybe some of that is marked by the number of total assists that are tallied up by Disguise so far. I mean, you've got 13, 12, or probably 10, 11 and, from Steel and Genghsta combined. I was reading the death column, my bad. That would have been a stupid number for assists.
Here we go. TSM, so they would have put together a pretty good buy here. They have Neural Death available. Both teams do in that regard. Op is out on Steel defensively, interestingly enough. The opping KO is not one you see often.
But when you do, it packs a punch. First blood there. 7 also offers the opportunity, and the follow-up is good. Corey's still trying to keep some pressure on through Arcade, but the Aftershock will push them up in towards B Tower, where Boombot is waiting for him. So DSG have a really good handle on the situation. Just comes down to finishing it off. Steel's gonna get aggressive with the shorty! Okay! Talk about a statement round for Disguise!
Oh, boy. And you know what? Steel has a little bit of a background on defensively opping with agents that don't normally op. We've seen them do it with Sentinels in the past, particularly on Icebox with Killjoy. So he's not foreign to it, but it's still not something you really expect. It still is a bit of a curveball if you're TSM, and he totally caught them off guard with it there, and he had it pay off in dividends. What a round from the in-game leader.
Wow.
And now things look tough for TSM.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very calculated half buy, though. They can still full buy next round.
And it does also still provide a lot of potential punish if you do land things like a good Rolling Thunder. 7's been red, yeah. Absolutely perfect isolation from Disguise. TSM looking to try to follow up quickly by making their way on towards A for a plant, and Corey will get the Stinger into a pretty good spot here with his clearance. Genghsta feeling the pressure. The Rolling Thunder is out. The help from Riku is solid, who's still flashed up, but as soon as he shakes off the effects, he walks away with 3 kills, leaving Nature by himself off of his plant. A Stinger versus 4. Good luck, have fun. Clear will finish him off, and we've got ourselves a tie game on Fracture.
Dude, Genghsta absolutely ruined TSM with that Rolling Thunder. I mean, just not a chance that they were going to make anything happen after that got clicked off. And now all of a sudden we got a tie game here on Fracture. This guy's looking to steal TSM's pick after having their own pick taken in the first. And after that timeout, TSM hasn't really changed up too much here. The one thing going for them is that they did not spend any ults on that half buy, so they still have that coming into this next round.
Yeah.
This goes here.
Steel just has the null command. He's still got that defensive operator as well. It's like he wants to take it the opposite side of B this time.
I was just gonna say, with TSM already calling their timeout, they have to make these calls on what they want to do, pending the threat still exists, on the fly. Which can be difficult for sure.
I must wait.
Up 7 spots this push. Gonna get inside the cage and zipline the heck out. It doesn't really provide enough coverage though.
No, it doesn't.
That was I don't know if you might as well stand your ground in that situation, I think.
Yeah, let's go 1 for 1 at worst. So Nature will try to plant once again, but Disguised hold a lot of the cards here. Not just with numbers, but the post plant for TSM made more vulnerable without a Cypher in the picture. Spycam is just...
Hi there.
Yeah, how you doing, bud? Fault line, paint shells, beautiful combination. Clear will get the kill with that combo. And the fault line, or Rolling Thunder, part of me, really doesn't do too much in this instance. So Genghsta will try to start off for the defuse. Already halfway done. Null Command is also here. No utility can push him off, and Steel will hold strong. Disguised. The sheet's flawless. Up to 11 and in the lead.
Bro, they are looking like a fine-tuned machine right now on this defensive side. They are not letting TSM have anything here. I mean, just whether it's the aggression, whether it's Steel opping, whether it's just their retaking abilities together and how they're comboing their utility. And again, now they just feel like they had that swagger about them too, man. Like they just are overflowing with confidence. And they are just bullying TSM right now.
Yep. And now you're in a must-win round all of a sudden if you're TSM. Economy is not there at all.
No, sir.
How quickly Disguise can make these maps come back. We saw it a bunch in week 5. We're seated again here. Spy cam for XXiF. Gonna see the boom bot. No follow-up yet, but it does get Steel into a better position. And through the smoke. Just gets a nice peek onto nature. First blood once again tallied up, and TSM are stuck in the same position, having to force their way on for a plant. They're being revealed. You got fragments now coming in. Clear's taking away space over through tree, and TSM just have to somehow hold. They have an orbital strike and a showstopper, the latter of which is being called in here. XXiF finding some damage into him, but still comes away with the kill plus a second. How has XXiF done this? Just down to Goumond. 1v2. XXiF low. Incendiary still at the ready if you can find a way to utilize it. Gets information on the last 2 remaining members. First one comes through and then bang! Goumond gets 4 to take us to 11 with the eBay clutch.
Oh my goodness, what an individual play for Goumond, because it didn't look like things were going TSM's way. They didn't seem like they were getting a whole lot of value out of those ults. It seemed like DSG were able to kind of bob and weave around them and keep themselves very much in the hunt of another round and a map point at that. But Goumond holds firm on the site for a huge clutch. And now all of a sudden we're back 11-11. They avoid the bankruptcy issues they were about to face. They keep the full buy coming into this round. But that is just one of many.
Yeah.
That's still gone Disguise's way. And oh, a big miss from Clear, giving a little bit of space now to TSM.
Boombot comes out, blast. Also going to try to clear a little bit of space in front towards the immediate drop portion of the named area. Disguised still in a pretty solid spot defensively, all things considering. I mean, they're getting a lot of information here with XXiF spy cam still up.
Yeah, we see a commitment now for an A split from TSM. Clear could be the foil. Though close, but 7 finds it. XXiF though goes undetected in the site itself. Gets 2, gets off the neural theft.
And all of a sudden, it's just down to can you get the response in through mid, but Goumond actually takes down 2, leaving XXiF once again by himself, and this time he will not be able to hold strongly. Just down to Steel for a 1v2. Kanpeki with the plant. Goumond just kind of holding some sort of a line of scrimmage forward over towards ropes, as Steel has to really respect that the offensive Brimstone could be anywhere in his spawn. But does he maybe catch a piece of timing here if he comes around this corner? Kanpeki is not fully watching this. He's responsible for 2 things at once. Steel looking to clear, but the timing is not there. And TSM are at 12-11.
You gotta be kidding me. Right when DSG are about to cross the finish line, all of a sudden, in your rearview mirror, you see TSM kind of just sprinting back towards you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
You know exactly what meme format I'm talking about. That's TSM right now, buddy. They're looking at you.
Wow.
Oh, you thought this was over. It's not. And now Disguise has to take the timeout. And now everything rides on this. It's either overtime or Disguise eliminated. No chance at any additional circuit points. Put themselves in a precarious position for our second split. Meanwhile, TSM could fight to live on through this lower bracket.
And just like we saw in week 5, the margin between these 2 teams is paper thin. And
true,
there is a level of surprise that comes with that, considering that we're seeing a 3-way role swap here essentially for Disguised.
Yeah, it's interesting how they bring it too, because for TSM, it's very much based on individual talent and flair and just a fast-paced play style. For Disguise, it's more about veteran savvy and craftiness. Yeah, they have some guys who can frag pretty heavy, but it's all about the team play, orchestrating things, you know, comboing utility. Like, they're more known as the brains of the operation, so to speak. But with that said, TSM, while their gameplay may seem a little bit more simple because of how paced they are, it's still well-timed and well-thought out. And their spacing is still really good.
Speaking of timing, how about this? Oh, no! It's a catastrophe! Corey
Oh,
shuts
no.
down Clear before he can pull the trigger. And what was going to be the wild card in this round, the only ultimate was that defensive showstoppers now immediately neutralized and Disguised are looking to get aggressive, seeing if they can trap TSM at the lower range. Corey's not done. He gets 3. 8 shells at the back.
God.
He's got to read out the steal. Kill number 4 is there. And now it's just up to Genghsta or an ace. Corey provides the ace. And with that, eliminates Disguised in 2 maps.